Hello everybody. So I'm from Mulcahy. I'm going to talk to you about site search today. Mulcahy, what we do is we're a trade body for online retail in the UK. So we measure the market and we can report on how things are doing. What we're going to look at is desktop and smartphone. Okay, so we looked at two different devices there, and we're going to put a little badge to signify whether they have it or not. So if there's this blue one here, then it means that they have it on their desktop, it's open. And if they have it, this green one here, then on the smartphone it's open. Come on, that's it. So we just got this bit in the slightly wrong order. So there's the heads, look, all lined up like that. Perfect, should have done that first really. So as you can see, with the blue ones, so the open site search on a desktop, there's very common basically, and there isn't really a massive trend that you would pick out from that. There's some at the bottom and some at the top really. With the smartphone one though, does a little bit more of a pattern there, so there's a few more up that way that are using it, and all 5 of the sort of worst ones don't have it. So maybe there's something in that you might want to look at. And there's those badges. Location. So where actually is the thing? And roughly speaking, there are sort of 3 places that you can put the search bar, right? So there's the middle, so that's on buy's website, and you see there on both. So what we mean by middle is it does take over the whole thing. So we've just said that that's middle, and it's in the middle of the screen on the desktop there. You can also put it to a side of the website. Okay, so what they've done on Fat Faces is they've put it over to the right-hand side, and it's similar to that on the mobile site as well. It's on the right-hand side of the display. So is that a significant factor? Does it matter whether it's on the left, the middle, or the right? And again, so it's going to be desktop and smartphone. What does L mean? Can anyone guess? It's left. Very good. So left, not actually that many of those, and a bit broken apart, if we're being completely honest, although on desktop, a lot of them are in the far left-hand side. C is centre. Now, as you might expect, quite a lot, just stick it in the middle of the page. And it does actually seem to be reasonably good. I think you'd probably argue a lot of the ones on the left-hand side there use that type of display. And then the rest of them is on the right-hand side. So right's actually reasonably popular as well, to be honest. Bit more of a mixed performance there, so quite a few down the right-hand side are, but then it's got some quite good representation on the left-hand side there as well. So should you go left, right, or centre? Don't know. That's basically the insight for you. Autocomplete. So what does autocomplete mean? So what this means is if you start to type something out, so you type party, it will make some suggestions for you. And they're very clever ones as well. So party dresses, party tops, but then hen party, you see, so it doesn't have to be the first word. So it knows what you're doing and it tries to do that for you. Similar on M&S's website there as well. So is that a good thing? We'll put a little badge there if it is. Very, very common, as you might expect. I don't know, really. Is that slightly surprising that there's a few gaps at the top there? More down the right-hand side. So I think you'd probably say that auto-complete is possibly a good thing. I'll do one more, and then you might want to take a picture before we move on. Recommendations. So this is quite a nice little thing that we noticed on a couple of websites. So what it means is, if you type in a query into the search bar there, it comes up with a few ideas for you. So look, here's a couple of products straight away that we thought you might be interested in, kind of thing. Quite a nice idea. Search recommendations. So not quite as common, this one, but seems to be actually reasonably good. I'll just pause for a second if anybody wants to take a picture of that. You can get me in it if you want. It's up to you. I'll smile. We done? Okay, magic. This is a bit where I go, what's the next bit? So, what actually is the next bit? Oh yeah, this is a good one. So what we did was we looked at product type and brand. So when people are searching for stuff, what we wanted to figure out is what actually are they searching for? So what we did is for those 40 retailers, we went to them and said, could you tell us the 3 top searches that you get on your website? And then we were sorting them by product and brand. Okay, so specifically what we mean by that is a product search query is something like pillows or desk or pajamas, right? It's not specific, it's just a type of product. And then brand names would be things like PlayStation, Levi, Nike kind of thing, right? So what is the most common? Shall we have a little bit of fun and do a little vote, right? What do you think is most common? Do you think people are searching for products or brands? So show of hands, who thinks product? Yes, quite a lot. Brand? Yeah, okay, fine. You're pretty right, actually, so it is quite heavily. So remember we got the 3 from each of them, so 120 in total, and that was the split. So much, much stronger chance that people are going to be searching for product type than brand, it would seem. So, what we'll do now, yes, so when people search for things, obviously it's quite annoying when they just leave, because you've gone to the trouble of like surfacing this stuff up to them. I know what you want. Look at this, isn't it amazing? Do you want to buy it? No, I'm off, mate. 25% gone. Very frustrating that, isn't it? So I guess what you'd think is, well, I guess we're not showing them the stuff that they really want to see. It's a difficult one with search, isn't it? I mean, do you get quite strict on what you show? So if someone searches for, let's say, blue shirt, and you just have 2 blue shirts, just show the 2 blue shirts, or do you say, here's actually like a sort of grey one or something as well? It's like, you know, not entirely different. Or some other colours, or maybe even like a blue top, not necessarily a shirt. So giving them more options might be one way, but then you are sort of drifting out of the relevance a little bit. So there's a bit of a balance, I think, to be struck there, but that's quite a high number, that. Now, yes, so is the conversion rate for people who use search good? Yes, it's really, really good. So remember that our average conversion rate was 2.8%. For search users, it's 6.8%. Right, so that's substantially better if someone uses search. And I suppose the frustrating thing is then, if you kind of went to your board and said, hey, do you know what? People who use site search convert at like a much higher rate, then they'd say, make everybody use site search then. If only it was that easy. But I think probably people who use site search they know what they want, right? They kind of know what they're after. You know, I've got this real idea of what I want. So I'm probably a bit further along in my search journey, sorry to use that term, than some other people maybe. So maybe there's some of that going on. So say that to your board as well. Website conversion rate is just to sort of drill this point home really. So this is all these retailers. So the overall website conversion rate is all of them sort of lined up like that. And then the search one, so when people use the search, what is the conversion rate? It's much, much higher, and particularly for some of them, there is like a real big gap. In fact, there's only like number 3 there where it doesn't really seem to be much higher. Almost everybody else is higher. There's like number 2, 8, 13 where it's only a little bit higher. But a lot of them, you know, there is a bit of a gap there. So those kind of users are pretty valuable, I would suggest. But don't take it from me. Let's look at, oh yes, sorry. This is looking at, if you think about that conversion rate, we'll get into the money in a minute. Within that conversion rate, like, why is it so low, right? 2.8%. It's very annoying, isn't it? You know, why can't it be like, I don't know, 50? But within this, you have to break it down into lots of different areas. So what we do is we have this thing called the customer funnel, and you might have one of these in your company. And what this is there's 4 stages of it, right? So of all the traffic that comes to your website, what percentage view a product page, what percentage add something to their basket, what percentage get to the checkout page, and what percentage complete at the checkout stage. And we have these averages. So this isn't just for these, this is for these 40 retailers. So what we did was we looked at that and then just had the average for it. And then if you just extract the site search users, what's the customer funnel for those? And wouldn't you know it, there's quite a big difference. So, and I always find this really amazing. I've been tracking this for quite a few years now, actually. It doesn't really change that much, being honest, but I just think, why on earth do 45% of people go to a retail site and not view a product page? What are you doing? When it comes to search users, though, 60% view a product page, right? So it's higher. They have used search. You might even expect it to be a bit higher than that. Add to basket. This is the one where it's tremendously higher, really. So 16% over there. 31% over there, so almost double, very good. And then proceeding to the checkout, again, it's much, much higher. and payment, 49%, 63% over there. It's another little camera moment, by the way. So the reason that the conversion rate is not really that high is because if you think about it, right, and I'll use some simple maths here to make it easy on myself. Let's just imagine that we had 10,000 people that come to your website, and only 55% of them make it to the product page. Then you're already down to 5,500, right? I'm right about that, aren't I? Good. So you've already lost like nearly half of them, and then 16% of that 5,500 are going to make it. So now you're into, like 1,000 or something, make it through. And then proceeding to the checkout, suddenly you're into the hundreds. And then actually get into payment. So it's very, very annoying, isn't it? They do, every kind of stage, they have to sort of make this decision. Maybe if we just give them a kick up the backside and get them along to the end, that would be great. Yes, so that. And now this is the money bit, right? So are they spending more money? Are they worth more money if they're doing this stuff? And this is a pretty interesting little statistic, this one. So of all the website revenue that these retailers are taking in, what percentage comes from the ones who are using site search? Bearing in mind, only 13% on average are actually using site search. 31% of the revenue is actually coming from those customers. So 69% is coming from the 87%. So that's quite a frustrating little break, that, isn't it? But it's because of that extremely high conversion rate in comparison. They're getting through those stages much, much quicker. They've got more intent, I suppose. So, again, it comes to this question, like, is it possible to get more people using site search? Or is it just some people will do it because that's kind of what they do? But are they actually spending more, right? So because they've used site search, is it that they're going to be spending more money per visit? So for the average order value for the search users and the non-search users, okay, what's the difference? It's practically nothing, £1 on average. So if you look at a lot of those lines, they're very, very straight. There's a couple that go up a little bit, there's a couple that come down, but on the whole, very straight. So it doesn't really seem to make any difference at all, really, on the amount of money that they're spending. Now, site search users, are they new or returning customers? Reasonable split. So for all the traffic that come to the web, that use site search, is this a new customer that's doing it, or is it a returning one? And it's a reasonable kind of split between the two. So new customers is 45%. So it slightly favours existing customers, but there's not really a great deal in it. So that's not really a big indicator. Where are we going now? Oh yes, yeah, the navigation menu. So you've got the site search, but then you can also go and look in the navigation menu, obviously, to look through stuff. So what percentage do that? 18% on average will do that, right? So other people will come to your homepage, probably in browse mode, hence the reason that maybe they're not converting at quite as high a rate, and clicking on stuff on your homepage, or searching and coming through on other pages and things like that. Do they convert better? Yeah, they do as well. So people who use the navigation or the search, they're both pretty good, to be honest. So if you could force more people to do that, that would be splendid as well. Oh, Sian, sorry. Thank you. Like I said, I looked at that for the first time last night. Does anyone have any questions? I don't mind taking a question. Not that I can actually see any. Yes. So what we track is UK websites, UK website traffic. So some of it might be from another country, but it would be to your .co.uk or .com if that's your UK one. Any more? Yes, sir. You have to just shout a bit.
Sorry. Do you have any statistics about how many people use search bar and stuff if they're coming from standard SEO or PPC?
Yeah. Yeah. So do we have statistics on where that traffic is coming from, basically?
Using the search bar and everything afterwards.
Yeah. So this is the question we always get asked. So we show some stuff and we think, isn't that good? And they go, yeah, but what about this? Next year's edition, perhaps we could look at that. We did recently do some stuff looking at the various marketing channels and the conversion rate, the basket value, and the share of revenue across those. So we do have a big study on that. It's on our website. I should probably say, by the way, some of you might actually be members of ours, just no one told you. So what tends to happen is someone in your business will be like a member of ours, but they don't really tell anybody because they just want it to be their thing. So if you want, you can just kind of email me or whatever and say, "Oh, we're a member," and I'll just say yes or no. It's great feedback, isn't it? Oh yes, sorry, madam. Yeah.
Hi, sorry. What sort of search were they using? Were they using any enhanced plugins, or were they, were they just using live search? What were they using? Do you know?
So no, I mean all we get is just the average usage of people who use search. So we wouldn't have like the type of thing they're using. That'd be a bit too sophisticated for this. Yeah. See, people always ask hard questions. I should stop saying that anyone got a question. Thank you.